welcome to the first Appear podcast of 2024. This is the first in a series of podcasts we're going to be doing throughout this year on a monthly basis, and we thought it would be great to start off talking to our CEO, Thomas. Greetings, Thomas.
Greetings, thank you. I'm honored to be the first guest in the inaugural Appear podcast. So
the first victim, absolutely.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Thank you. It's great to have you with us. I thought it really good to get your perspective on Appear as we start off there. But what I thought it would be even better to do before we dive into what Appear's doing is for those that aren't familiar, for you to give us just a little bit of potted history of your background and how you've come to be where you are heading the Appear ship at the moment.
I will, thank you. So I've been at the helm of Appear now for 3 years, more or less exactly. I think I had my work anniversary about a week ago. And I was hired into Appear to lead and accelerate the growth and really increase the market share for Appear within the media tech industry. Now, interestingly enough, my career started at Tamberg Television, and so after my degree in signal processing from the UC system. I joined Tamberg Television at Lysaker and spent my first 3 years there. And interestingly enough, I worked alongside all the founders of Appear at the Tamberg at that time, and the main shareholder was the CEO at Tamberg Television. So I kind of have strong roots with the business, but I was only there for 3 years, and then kind of between Tamberg and Appear, I've had kind of a line of roles, mostly at the helm, running early stage or growth stage businesses. So the first business I was involved in after Tamberg was a small startup in this industry. It was called Voicast. It was like a near video on demand video service before I joined a set-top box company called Force, which is quite innovative company in the sort of personal video recording type of that was kind of where a lot of the innovation happened. Then I completely shifted industries. I joined a very early stage company called Loop, which was one of the absolute pioneers in mobile financial services. So basically mobile payments. Ran that quite successfully for about 4 years before moving on to what I did probably the next 10 years in the security side of mobile financial services. So by then, I think the industry was called fintech, so as the CEO, I headed up the build-up and quite successful build-up of a mobile authentication company called NCAP Security. So that's also a Norwegian tech business that we sold to Austin-based All Clear ID in 2016. So All Clear ID is one of the leading companies in the world in customer security and identity protection. And with them, I headed up the EMEA business. I was part of the management team until I joined Appear in 2021. So that's a short summary of my career and how I got here.
Wonderful. Well, welcome back home to the world of broadcast then. I guess you're feeling pretty established after these 3 years. Just for those that are listening, just wanted to tell you also that there is an audio-visual version of this podcast available. So whether if you're consuming it audio only, not sure why you would, but if you wanted to see us as well, then do feel free to seek out the audio version. One of the things that's excited me, I've just coming up as this podcast comes out to 3 months with Appear. So I'm I'm very much the new boy in the outfit, having done a lot of work in the broadcast industry for the last 30 plus years myself. And one of the things that's been exciting me is the way the industry is evolving and changing, and that's providing more opportunity. And from what I've seen, that's also that transformation and those changes are also providing opportunities for Appear. So do you want to give us your perspective on what industry transformation means for us in Appear moving forwards?
Absolutely. So I think it's worth sort of going back to Appear's roots, which I think is very much aligned with the linear TV business. So obviously. An interesting anecdote, Appear has its 20th anniversary this year. So the company's been around for 20 years, which I think is fabulous. And the company really grew up as one of the leading sort of technology and solution providers in the sort of linear TV business. So satellite, terrestrial, cable, IPTV. And that's really the sort of legacy business of Appear. Now I think sort of 7 or 8 years ago, Appear, and this is before my time, but Appear kind of looked at the industry and the market and where will growth happen, and as part of that, the company. I would say pivoted, at least in terms of where we invest our resources in building our sort of world-leading products and solutions into the sort of the world of live production and live contribution. So I think at least that's kind of the core of Appear's journey in terms of where we've taken our investments and our focus in where and in what markets that we build for and what markets that we invest in.
Yeah, and I see one of the things that I've seen is like an industry transformation in the way the industry is working that actually has I think has been really fruitful for Appear and the position that we've got in the marketplace. So the fact that with IP connectivity, both within the production sphere and the interconnect, the wide area interconnect, has allowed people to make use of flexible resources, and not necessarily geographically local to where they are, but also resources of people wherever they are and equipment. That actually plays into the proposition we've got in enabling that interconnect wherever it is for to provide that flexibility. And I guess that's been something that's actually helped our key success in the last couple of years with the proposition we've now got.
Yes, so I find it really interesting that it was the same unique selling points and the same sort of technology solution imperatives that drove our success in linear distribution that is now driving our success in live production and contribution. So what I'm talking about is the sort of inception of the head-end in the box, which was, I think, Appear was probably the first company that brought to market in the XC platform for the linear distribution market, and it had absolutely unparalleled sort of spatial density, packing a lot of function into a small footprint, and then include sort of all the relevant processing capabilities and compression and all relevant sort of transport formats in a very small footprint. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we have repurposed for the live production and contribution market with the X platform, which is now doing incredibly well in this market, and based on the same principles, spatial density, power efficiency, highly sustainable, and then sort of combine that with, of course, live production and contribution relevant processing capabilities and transport capabilities. So I think we're seeing a red thread throughout Appear's sort of history of building solutions and winning in the market that is based on the same concepts essentially.
Yeah, and I think it's worth saying, obviously, that the step from XC into X as platforms is a whole new generation capability. So it's something that's got, you know, the ability to do so much more, even than the previous platform did. And I think the other thing I would observe, again, as the new boy coming in here, is that what we have done achieved with the X platform, not only has it got so many capabilities within that single platform that provide that holistic solution for customers, but also it's come at a real sweet spot for us in terms of the drive that the end users have got for sustainable infrastructure. So the unrivaled density, but also the fact that the sustainability mandates that so many procurements are providing now means that actually our solution seems to really fit well and resonate well with the requirements that people have got.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And as you know, we've talked about this sort of publicly before, but we did this we did a major it's like an OTT head-end project with Deutsche Telekom, where they actually did a big study and comparison between the vendors that could meet their functional requirements to look at their ESG footprint, and what came out of that, which which they published, was again sort of comparison on CO2 production, electronic waste, power efficiency, and also cost of power, and a pair's approach to product architecture, right, really drove absolutely unparalleled competitive advantage and unparalleled benefits to the customer, right, in terms of the performance. So we're talking sort of on CO2 production, like a 38x improvement compared to the leading server-based solutions that they were evaluating. And again, the competitors could meet the functional requirements, but they were absolutely nowhere near the sort of performance per physical and per ESG footprint. So I think that has given us a lot of advantage. And as you say, a lot of companies are now have pledged, a net zero emission sort of approach and strategy, and so being able to help our customers and help the market achieve those goals is very important for us.
Yeah, and I think, as you alluded to, the customer list that we now have in terms of global broadcasters is quite phenomenal. That actually, if you like, pays homage to the capability that we've got and what we've actually been able to achieve.
Absolutely. No, we've as part of the strategic change that we made when I joined in 21, part of it was obviously how we approach the market. So moving from a highly indirect sort of Oslo-based sales model to a direct sales model and a distributed one. So I think most people that follow the industry will know that we've sort of gone direct in the UK and in the US market, and we're having phenomenal success with that. So I think I think that shows.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also it's worth saying that in the aspiration for what we are doing to be as holistic, I think we have quite well defined the space that we're targeting, and we're able to resource that very effectively. But alongside that, we recognize, therefore, that we need to work alongside other partners in the industry to achieve the total proposition. And I think helping to grow those relationships and partnerships is something I've been excited about the opportunity to do. And I know that's a passion for you as well.
Absolutely. So clearly we are the de facto leader now in the data plane, at least in the segments that we play in the key markets in this industry.
Yep.
But we also recognize that we don't have a strong proposition in the control plane, for example, in this industry, and so we're working hard, with partners and customers to help make sure that we provide as easy adoption as possible for our solutions and for the capabilities that we bring to market based on the customer's choice of control plane. So that's work that we're sort of strongly involved with at the moment. And I think the other side where we are, I think, changing our approach quite dramatically is our involvement in the industry as a whole. Yeah. So I think traditionally Appear had a sort of wait and see attitude to standardization and to sort of being active in industry bodies, but we clearly see the benefit of being at the forefront of the industry and help drive the definition of future workflows and use cases. And so that's a big part of sort of our shift in strategy.
Yeah, I think this is a good point to potentially do a little mini commercial break, because we are by design and intent a growing company at the moment, and there are quite a few opportunities on everything from development through to the commercial side of the company that we're going to be recruiting for further and further during this year. So what I would say is, if anyone that's watching or listening fancies checking us out, then we would feel free to get in touch. There's lots of details on appear.net in terms of the opportunities that are available. Yeah. So we'd love to consider having you on board.
It's a very good point, and I think it's just to sort of build on that. I think it's across the board. So we are, as I said, we are the fastest growing company in this industry by far. And we have been now for the last 3 years, which I'm super happy with. But a business like ours is based on people, and so I think we have been good at building out the team and strengthening our company with on people's side. But we're continuously on the outlook for people that can strengthen our team, all the way from from R&D, customer support, sales, technical sales, marketing, really across the board. So to your point, we're very interested in getting in touch with ambitious, smart people that want to join us on this journey.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, do get in touch. So looking forward as we draw to a close to what's happening in 2024 for us, there's lots of exciting, quite high profile things that are happening that we're involved in. Do you want to kind of headline what your excitement is for 2024 as we draw to a close?
Well, I can at least cover the sort of commercial side of it. So we've clearly made our mark on the US market the last couple of years, and so we're definitely looking. I mean, our aim is to continue establishing Appear as the leading brand in the industry, and so to do that, we will continue our absolutely stellar sort of growth and success in the US market by providing better customer service and support for our major clients. And as you know, there are some very, very large premium live sport events taking place this year that we will be involved in, and that's going to be instrumental to our customers and hence to us in delivering value. I think the other piece, to us commercially, is going to be to also kind of replicate this commercial model that we've had huge success with in the UK and US market, kind of replicate that in the EMEA markets going forward. So you will see us, building more direct sales capabilities into the EMEA markets. And then we'll also continue establishing the Appear brand as the leader in live contribution and production, by sort of highlighting and focusing on our unique value prop, and then really elevating our visibility in the industry to drive brand awareness and market traction. I think that's on the commercial side. I would say from a sort of product and technology side, we are now sort of building the foundation for offering live contribution and production solutions natively as software services, and that's a very exciting development for us, and something that we are true believers in terms of where the industry is going and where we are investing going forward. That doesn't take anything away from our willingness and ability to keep improving the award-winning X platform, and which we will, and we will continue to invest heavily in it, sort of to enable our customers to make the absolute most use of it, and enable us to tap into the entire sort of global market potential of that solution.
Absolutely. Hey, it's a very exciting journey, and it's going to be a very exciting 2024. So that's great. Thank you for your time talking to us today, Thomas. Really appreciate that. Look forward to all of the collaboration we're going to have during this year. And for those of you listening or watching the podcast, thank you for joining us today, and look forward to sharing more exciting stuff with you in February. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you very much.